This is just said to complete each congruent statement by naming the corresponding angle or side. So A goes with, B goes with, C goes with, AC goes with, MN, BA goes with, BC goes with. Fantastic. How do we think we did on that? Okay. Angle F goes with. Angle G goes with. Angle E goes with. GF goes with. GE goes with. FE goes with. Do you think you can handle this on your test tomorrow?
Yes. I think about it.
Alright, so then this says, write a statement that indicates the triangles in each problem, I don't like that, in each problem are congruent. So you could list all the angles and then the sides, or you could say that triangle JKI is congruent to what triangle? TRS. Some of you need to go to the eye doctor, please. Please go to the eye doctor. Put them on. Sweet Jesus in heaven. Alright, and the last one. How about I'll even zoom in.
Thank you.
Sweet Jesus. JIK is congruent to JCD. So this gets one moon, because those are congruent because they're vertical angles. What is I congruent to? And what is K congruent to? I'm so glad that now you do. Alright, so what about IJ? IJ is congruent to, or CJ, depending on how we name it. Alright, what about JK? I went from 1 to 3, so I need to go from 1 to 3, right? And it needs 2 tickies. And then this one would need 3 tickies, and that's congruent to? Look at us go.
Does it matter where you stop?
No. On your angles, just make sure that your rainbows match up with the other parts. And that's it. Alright, study guides. Get them out, get them out, get them out. Oh, Blair. Oh. Is this zoomed in enough? Because I need to be able to see the whole page.
Oh, yeah.
Zoom in as far as you can.
No, I just... This is why we can't have nice things. Alright. Now, this says classify each triangle as acute, equiangular, obtuse, or right. An acute triangle means all the angles are less than 90. Everybody open their notebook to page 24A.
Oh, the first one is on.
Everybody open their notebook to page 24A.
The first one is on.
Okay, I just want you to open your notebook right now. Thank you.
Is that right?
And open the notes so that I can see that you're looking at your notes. Not just have your notebook open. Taylor, what is happening, baby? What is happening? Come on, babe. All right. So we're going to start by looking at triangle UYZ, okay? That's this one, UYZ. Now Trey said that this one is obtuse. Do we agree or disagree?
Agree.
Why? Because one of the angles is greater than 90. Now, you have to spell these right for 2 reasons. 1, you are fairly educated individuals, and 2, it's listed right here for you. So you can't spell it wrong when you're given a word bank. Okay? No. What, baby? The math workshop? The study guide is going to be a grade yes. Okay. Number 2. BCD over here. What is that?
That's right.
That's a right triangle because of that 90-degree angle.
It is acute.
Does everybody see how we got those? Did you get them right last night when you were supposed to do your study guide and not have it blank in class? All right, the next one says ADB. Why is it acute?
All of the less than 9.
Because they are less than 90, not because it's small. UXZ. UXZ. That's acute. All of those are less than 90. Can y'all please stop? Thank you so much. UWZ. That's all right. And UXY. Angular, because we're talking about angles. UXY, all of those are 60, so that's equiangular. Do we agree or disagree so far? Did anybody get those right last night? Take a point for your team. Good. I'm proud of you. You guessed? That's not what I want to hear when you have a notebook with notes on this and we've been doing it for a week and a half. Thank you so much. All right, next numbers, 7 through 12. It says if point C is the midpoint of BD, so that's very important, it cuts it in half, and E is the midpoint of DF, that means it cuts it in half, classify each triangle as equilateral, isosceles, or scaling. Now, ABC is this triangle right here. Is that equilateral, isosceles, or scaling? Scaling, because all the sides are different lengths. All right, ADF, which is over here. ADF. Isosceles, it is, because this is 10 and this is 10. Take a point. I just love you so much. No. Alright, so I want you to change this AFD to AED because those are the same triangle. So let's change it to AED. What's that? That's this one right here. Scaling. No. Does everybody see why it's scaling? Alright. AEF. Scaling. No. Alright. ACD. Scaling. I know. And the last, it is pumpkin sauce. It is. And then ABD is no. Equilateral. Why is it equilateral? All the sides are 8 because 4 plus 4 is fantastic.
No.
Yes.
Take that point.
Okay, baby. Well, what grade are you in? 10th? And you're going to disagree that 4 plus 4 is 8?
I was kidding.
Okay, let's not do that. She wasn't. Alright, are we ready for the next section? Is it important that you spell these right? Yes, it is. Especially because you're given a word bank. It's crazy. Alright, classify each triangle in the figure by its angles and its size. So you got to do both. ABE.
There's one.
It's a right triangle because we have that box, right? And then it's isosceles because you have the two tickies. So it's right, and then you have these two tickies. That means it's congruent. It's isosceles. What about EBC? Isosceles and obtuse. Good. Take a point.
I've been yelling the whole time.
And I'm so proud of you. So proud. Can you tell me what the next one is? BDC? Without Trey telling you? Well, baby, look at it. We're doing triangle BDC. Find triangle BDC.
Right.
It is a holy ham sandwich. Look at you go. It is right. And what about the sides? Take a point, Ken. It's what? Scalene, because they are all different. We don't have any tickies on this one for BDC, so it's scalene. Okay, now our goal for today is to review our study guide and ask any questions. So on this first part, does anyone have any questions? Because you need to speak now or forever hold your peace. On what, baby? That's 15, right here. Yeah. Well, and also this is 90, right? So if this is 75, that would have to be 15 because the other has to be, these have to add up to 90. That's no worries. It kind of looks like it though, doesn't it? Alright, let's look at 16. Please turn your paper over to 24B. Your notebook, not your notebooks. 24B. That's 25. Okay. Just leave it right there. You're fine. Alright, here we go. It says the triangle MNP is isosceles with MN congruent to NP. So these two have tickies. If they're congruent, what do? You set them equal to each other. So it says to find x and the length of the sides. Now, which two sides are we going to set equal to each other? 5x minus 2 and 7 plus 2x. Then what are we going to do? Add 2 to both sides. And we get 5x equals 9 plus 2x. And then what do? Subtract 2x. You guys know that if you wait until the day before the test to do your study guide, you're not going to do as well on the test. It's crazy because that means you didn't study. And you can't only study in here with me. And that explains a lot, doesn't it? Love you like sliced bread. And what does x equal? 3. Now, it said to find x and the length of the side. So you have to do that as well, correct? No, baby. Not here you don't. Mister. Alright, so MN, we have 5 times 3 minus 2. Because all we're doing is we're taking our 3 and we're plugging it in over here. What's 5 times 3? And what's 15 minus 2? Look at us go. Alright, let's find NP. We have 7 plus 2 times 3. What's 2 times 3? What's 6 plus 7? Look at us go. Aren't those supposed to be congruent? Did we do it right? Hallelujah. And the last one is MP. 2 plus 3 times 3. What's 3 times 3? 9 plus 2 is? Boom. Questions, comments, gripes, complaints. How are you going to do well on a test if you don't work out the problems on your study guide before we come in here and review? You don't. Maybe that explains a lot why our grades are the way we are. Jesus isn't going to fix the computer, children. We've already had this conversation. Do number 17 without me. If you've already done it, then you can relax. Do 17 without me. If you've done it, relax. X equals 2. And then I plugged it in, and I got RS equals 11, ST equals 11, and RT equals 11. How'd we do? Good. Take a point. Yes. Do you want me to come over there?
No.
Okay.
Remember, but RS is 3 more than 4.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to worry about it?
Mm-mm. I love it when you walk around when we're trying to have class. I'm so appreciative of that. Alright, are we ready for the next one? So it says that they're equilateral, right? That means that all sides are congruent. So it doesn't matter which side you set equal to each other, but I took these two and set them equal. And then I solved for x. Yep, and once I got x, I plugged it in and got 11 each time. That's why it's equilateral. Taylor, what'd you do? Did you get it right? Okay. Jeremiah, are you ready, babe? Pardon? Okay. Alright, number 18. It says find the measure of each numbered angle. Okay. What I want you to do first is I want you to pick a number that you think would be the easiest one to find here. 7 would be easiest. And why would 7 be easiest to start with? Because the other two angles are already there. And it makes a triangle, right? And what's the sum of a triangle? And your notebook should be open to page 25A. Open the notes. Now, is 7 an exterior angle or just part of a triangle? It's interior, it's just part of a triangle, right? So that's the triangle sum theorem, and that's the top of your notes on that page. And it says that the sum of a triangle is what? So, to find angle 7, add these two together and then subtract it from 180. Hang on. Let's let everybody have a chance. But yes. So you add those two together and then subtract from 180. That's what we should all be doing now. Not just sitting there waiting on me to write it down. No. If you can just do it without writing it down, that's fine. Know what I mean, Butterbean? Okay. Alright, and we got 57 degrees. Yay. Now, if this is 57 degrees, what is going to be the next angle that we could find easily? 5, because they are what kind of angles? Vertical. So if this is 57, what's 5 going to be? 57 degrees. Now, based on what we just did, could we find angle 6? How could we find angle 6? This makes a linear pair, right? And so does this. So we would just subtract it from what? 180. Awesome. Good. Do 180 minus 57 and tell me what 6 is.
123.
123. Okay, now, what do the rainbows mean about 8 and 9? They're congruent. They're the same. Good. So that means that whatever is left after 123, you would have to cut it in half. So 180 minus 123 is 57. We know that. So to get 8 and 9, you would divide it by 2. So 28.5. So 8 is 28.5 and 9 is 28.5. Does everybody understand how we did that, or do you want me to say it again? Okay, I can say it again. So we said that this was 123, right? Yes, no, maybe so? That means that 180 minus 123 is 57. These two are congruent, so you have two angles left over. That means that we're going to divide it by 2, and that gives me 28.5. No, it's okay to have a decimal. What, baby? Okay, so these two are congruent, right? That means that they're the same. So you just cut what's left over in half. If this angle is 123, we said this right here was 123 degrees. To find what's left over, you do 180 minus 123, and you get 57, right? Since they're the same, that means you need to split this up, so you divide it by 2. Because you need 2 angles, right? You need 2 more, and you only have 1 number, so you divide it by 2 to get this. Alright, now, let's look at angle 4. Now, do we know what angle 5 is? Angle 5 is what? 57 degrees. So what would we do with these two numbers? And then subtract it from 180. And what's angle 4? I am so proud of y'all. Are we ready to look at number 19? Does anybody have any questions on 18 before we go anywhere? Okay, now let's look at, what do you think is going to be the easiest one to find first?
Number 5, angle 5.
Why? Why? Because they're vertical angles, yes. So this is 110 degrees. Now, based on that, I want you to find number 7 without me.
Number one.
No, I don't assume I know because they're vertical angles. Vertical angles make an X.
Like 1 and 8 is the same.
These two make an X because that's a line. Yes, that's what you just said. So since this isn't a line, baby, this angle and this angle are the same. Okay.
1 and 8.
Yes, because they both have one moon, right?
Yeah.
I want you to find some of these without me. Your test is tomorrow. You need to be able to function without me. You are not allowed to ask questions tomorrow. It is test day, not mama do it for us day. I want you to find all of them. Just do it. Just go. You can do this, right? What do the rainbows mean? So what are 1 and 8? Okay, use that. Go. Did you say miss? What do you need, mister?
No, I didn't even know. You're a listener.
Does anybody have angle 4 yet? Brianna? 40? How'd you get 40? You did 110 plus 30, right? And then you subtract it from 180, and you get 40. Friendly, what'd you say? Okay, awesome. Both of you take a point.
How did you get 40?
Because this is 110, right? And this is 30. You add those together and subtract from 180. Does anybody know what 7 is yet?
You say you subtract 180.
Yes, baby, it's a triangle. Always subtract from 180. It's a triangle. If I know that 7 is 70 and 8 is 65, can I find 6?
Yes.
Have you found it yet?
45. Get out my
Does anyone know what angle 2 is yet? How'd you get 20?
Yes, you had 30.
You had 30 and 130, and you subtract it from 180, and that gives you Can you find angle 3 without me? Do it. Go, go, go.
No.
180 minus what? Yes. Take the G. I'll come sign your pass in a minute. Just go. Yes. 130 plus 30 plus angle 2 has to give us 180. So add these two together and subtract from 180 to get that. To get angle 2. Now for angle 3, you would do 20 plus 65 and subtract it from 180. So what's angle 3? 95. How many of us got that right? Take a point for your team.
Go for the answer.
How did you get
This one?
angle 3? Yeah.
I did 65 plus 20 and I subtracted from 180 and got this.
Where did you get 20 from?
Because 30 plus 130 is 160 and you subtract it from 180 because these make a line. Alright guys, now I have a question before we go any further. Is 110 an exterior angle? That, yes baby, it's on the outside. Okay. That means it has to add up to equal which two angles? 8 and 6. Remember when we ripped the triangles, we would rip those two off. Okay? Now, what about if I said this angle right here? What two angles besides RE would we have to add together to get that angle? 8 and 7, because you would rip those off because they're the non-adjacent angles. Now, what about down here? Well, let's cover this part up. And I extend my triangle this way, and we said that this was 9. Which two would I have to add together? 3 and 2, because they're non-adjacent. Does everybody understand? These two are not adjacent to this. You add them together to get angle 9. 3 and 2. It's not that, baby. It's just that we're saying it like 6 times. And I don't know where you're at the first 5. No, baby, that's not what anyone thinks. Okay. All right, go to page 26A in your notebook. Open up your notes. 26. No, it ain't. All right. Now this says show. Trey, please stop talking to him. Thank you so much, honey. No. Show that the polygons are congruent by identifying all congruent corresponding parts, then write a congruent statement. Are you ready? We're doing these two together. Angle A is congruent to angle W. Angle B besides Ari and Catherine are congruent to X, because they have 2 rainbows. Angle C is congruent to good, because they have 3 rainbows. Angle D is congruent to angle Z. Okay, now we also have to do the sides, correct? So then AB is congruent to WX. BC is congruent to CD is congruent to, and AD is congruent to. Can everyone follow the rainbows? Like we're little leprechauns. Rainbows and tickies. And this is our pot of gold. So then we say that ABCD is congruent to. No, baby. You see how I had 4 points over here? I'm going to have 4 points over here. Look at you go. Take a point. Where are you?
I was looking for 26, but this one's still here.
Okay, so now you need to be able to do 21 without me. Are you guys ready? Let's look at 22. It says the triangle RSV is congruent to TVS, yes? So we need to find X and Y. What would X be congruent to? To R, right? How do we know what R is? Because 78, 90. So you would do 180 minus 90 plus 78 to get X. What's 90 plus 78?
168.
And what's 180 minus 168?
12.
Now, would I set 2y minus 1 equal to 24.5 or 24? Why? RS is congruent to TV, right? RS is congruent to TV. We would set it equal to 24. So then we would add 1, divide by 2. So what's y? What, baby? What's 25 divided by 2? 12.5. That is not that complicated.
So when we take the test and we get a decimal, not decimal.
We're not afraid.
I am.
Alright, so you need to be able to do 21 and 23 without me.
Yeah.
You need to actually study for your test because it's when? Tomorrow. Mañana.